Hey guys, welcome back to my channel for another deep clean and declutter with me. Today we are focusing on a few areas in my house that desperately needed to be deep cleaned, decluttered, and reorganized, including a cabinet in my kitchen, my pantry, our medicine cabinet in the guest bathroom, and also two of my daughter's clothing drawers. We're going to be decluttering in there and then also using the Konmari method folding to fold all of her clothes to fit better into her bins. But before we get started, I just wanted to say thank you to Skillshare for partnering with me to bring you today's video. And now we're just going to get started cleaning and decluttering by first tackling this corner cabinet in my kitchen. As you can see, this cabinet houses a ton of miscellaneous cooking items, cutting boards, bakeware, mixing bowls, and the pull-out drawer has all of my spices for cooking on it. So I am just going to start by first pulling everything out of here so I can really see what I'm working with before I can start going through anything and decluttering. As I was pulling out all of these spices, I realized that this drawer was just disgusting. It's honestly a little bit embarrassing to show you guys, but at the same time, this is real life and this is what the drawer was looking like, so of course I'm going to show you. But it was really gross. So at first I was just using a microfiber cloth and some cleaning spray to try to clean it out, but then I decided that that just was not doing the job well enough. So I got a heavy-duty scrub brush and I scrubbed it out really well. Now it does not come completely clean because honestly, I think some of it is just stained and set into the paint and I'm never going to be able to get it out, but I was pretty satisfied by the time that I was done scrubbing and I felt comfortable to go ahead and put the spices back in there. Since I was already scrubbing this top pull-out drawer, I decided to go ahead and clean out the entire cabinet with that same cleaning spray and back to my microfiber cloth. And I'm just going to make sure that I am liberally spraying this down and wiping it out really well so that it is as clean as possible for when I put everything back in here. Once I've got the cabinet cleaned out, it's time to start decluttering, and I am really trying to be intentional with the Konmari method here, touching every single item, assessing if it is serving its purpose and does it spark joy. And if the answer is no, or if I'm hesitant about it at all, then I am setting it aside to be decluttered and donated. And when I'm going through the spices, I'm considering how often I use them, what the expiration dates are, and if I have any duplicates that could be combined into one container to take up less space. As I mentioned earlier, I did partner with Skillshare to bring you guys today's video, and actually some of my Skillshare classes are what has been motivating me and encouraging me and instructing me on the decluttering journey that I have been on for the past few weeks now. I have been loving taking these Skillshare classes that teach me ways to declutter and manage the clutter in my house as a method of managing my anxiety and the clutter in my mind, especially now that we are all social distancing and practicing self-isolation. This has been huge in helping my mental health, and I really appreciate Skillshare for offering this kind of course catalog that can help me to manage this horrific time that we are all going through. I have also used my account for my children to instruct them and let them take mini courses on easy at-home crafts to kind of occupy their time as well. My husband has used it to watch some courses for cooking because he has become interested in that recently, and I've taken some courses on video editing and photography, which has helped my channel out a ton, which you guys can see by the growth that I have been experiencing lately. And that's actually the #1 thing that I love most about Skillshare. I am actually able to take as many courses as I want in tons of different categories without having to pay for those courses individually. And Skillshare is actually offering the first 500 of you who sign up using the link in my description box to have 2 free months on the Skillshare platform. So definitely make sure that you click that link and sign up for Skillshare today. Now I'm finished with this cabinet, and I just wanted to show you guys some before shots so that you could see how much of a total mess this was in here. It was in complete disarray and was just really difficult to get to anything that I needed. But now in the after shots, you can see that it is a total transformation in here. It is so much more organized, so much less cluttered, and I'm really happy with the way that it turned out. I do have a pile of things that I am going to be donating that you can see right here. And then there were a few things that I did have to throw in the trash and a couple of things that were just put in the wrong place. But now that I've got everything sorted out, I can just get working on my pantry. Of course, I am going to start in here the same way that I did the kitchen cabinet, and I'm just going to pull everything out of this space and get it onto my kitchen table so that I can get a good look at what all I have that I need to go through and try to reorganize and condense and declutter. Now, normally my pantry doesn't look this out of control, but since we have been practicing the self-isolation and social distancing, I've been trying to go to the store less often. So we used to buy groceries for just 1 week at a time, and now we've been trying to buy them for 2 to 2.5 weeks at a time, and the organization system that I had in here just wasn't able to keep up with that quite so well. There have been a few things that have been put out of place or spills that have occurred and just duplicates of items that I've been buying, so I really just need to go through all of that. But before I do, I definitely want to make sure that I wipe down all of these shelves really well so that there's a clean space where I can put all of the food back. The shelves weren't too terribly dirty, but there had been a couple of spills, like I said, and so I just wanted to make sure that I got that all cleaned up. I moved these bins up to this bottom shelf, and I am so glad that I did because it instantly made a world of difference in making the pantry look and feel way less cluttered. Over on this top shelf, I keep all of my paper products, paper straws, and our caddy for when we have picnics outside or just eat out on our back patio. And it had just become a total mess over here. I had been lazy about keeping up with it, so I'm going to go through everything now, take it out of its original packaging so that it's not taking up so much space, and reorganize it into this caddy so that it looks a lot neater in here. I did also decide to just declutter that cereal container that we were using for goldfish and also my snowman cookie jar because it was cracked. Now I'm going to start working my way around this table and just taking things out of their original packaging where I can and condensing them into the organization bins that I already have here in this system. I actually really love the organization system that I came up with in my pantry. It wasn't too long ago, I think maybe 6 months ago, that I did this, and it has been completely functional and sustainable since then, especially when we are only buying groceries for 1 week at a time. And I have been surprised that I've even been able to fit in groceries for 2 and 2.5 weeks, so I'm definitely happy with that system, and if you want to see it, I'll go ahead and link that video for you guys here. As I was going through all of this food, really the only things that I needed to get rid of were things that were already empty or mostly empty in their packaging. There were a couple of things in the snack container that had just been out for too long, and so they had gone stale, and stale snacks do not spark joy, so I did go ahead and get rid of those as well. But it honestly wasn't too much. I was proud of myself. We don't waste a ton of food here in this household, and I'm really proud of that. So we actually have 2 snack bins for our girls, and you guys, they have been going through these snacks like crazy since we have been quarantined. I cannot believe it. I thought that they ate a lot before, but they are eating constantly now, and it has actually increased our grocery budget, which I did not anticipate at all. So I'm kind of curious to know if you are quarantined as well with your whole family at home. Are you going through your food and your snacks a lot faster, or have you found a solution to kind of prevent your kids from snacking all day long? Because even when I tell my kids no, they will keep asking and asking and asking until the next snack time. As I am going through all of this, you guys are seeing me take a lot of things out of their original packaging to be able to fit into the bins and to be able to fit into the organization system a lot better. And I have mentioned it before, but I think it's a great tip, so I'm going to go ahead and mention it again. Anywhere that you can remove excess packaging, I highly suggest that you do that. It is such a space saver, and honestly, so many things have multiple layers of packaging that are just 100% unnecessary. So don't be afraid to combine things and take things out of their boxes to be able to store them a lot easier. This is where I keep all of my canned tomatoes, crushed tomatoes, tomato sauce, and things that I use for cooking, and no matter how hard I tried, I could not get them all to fit in here nicely and not bend the bin, but that's okay that it was a little bit overflowing because I do cook with it often, so it didn't stay that way for very long. But now that I've gone through every single food item, I am just going to work on putting all of these bins back on the shelves in a functional but aesthetically pleasing way. I do try to organize all of these by color and also put them on the shelves according to how often they are used and who is using them. So for example, that bottom shelf is where all of our snack bins are, so the girls can access it without my help. Things that are used a little more often, like quick foods, tuna fish, stuff like that, is going on that middle shelf. Same with all of our breakfast items and pasta on the opposite middle shelf. And then things that only I really use for cooking and baking, I put on that top left shelf because nobody really goes there except for me. So here are some before shots for you guys so you can get an idea of what it looked like when we first started. And now here are some after shots, and I am so pleased with the outcome of this project. It looks so great in here and is a total refresh, and I absolutely love it. Here is everything that was being decluttered or thrown out, and I did just really quickly want to break down all of our recycling boxes before I moved on to the next project. I wasn't sure if this raisin container could be recycled, so I just asked Derek very quickly, and then I bagged up everything that needed to be thrown out, and I had him take that right outside to our dumpster and to our recycle bin so that we weren't leaving it inside taking up space. Now I'm going to move on into our guest bathroom or my girls' bathroom, and this medicine cabinet was just packed full of stuff. So I'm going to start by first removing everything that I had in here, and then of course giving those shelves a good wipe down before I start going through everything that I had jam-packed into this cabinet. Once I had it all cleared out, I'm just going to spray it down with a multi-purpose cleaner and scrub it really well with my microfiber cloth before I can move on to sorting through all of the items that I had stashed in this cabinet before. I do have this pack of drawer organizers that I got from Target that I am going to be using or trying to use in this cabinet, but first I really need to just sort through everything and start making piles of the different products and categories of products here. I have a ton of sample size items because our girl's pediatrician always gives me a whole bunch of them anytime that we go to see her for any kind of doctor's visit. I absolutely love that about our pediatrician, but they definitely have accumulated. I'm also making sure that I check expiration dates of things and just really assess if I actually use these items. Now you will see me trying to jam all of these samples into these little organizers because part of me just wanted to keep hold of all of them since they are useful and they were free, but later on you will see that I ended up donating a ton of it because if I was really being honest with myself, I didn't use them quite so often, they didn't spark that much joy, and that meant we did not need to keep them and we could go ahead and declutter them. Since this cabinet is so small, it was a pretty tight fit with these organizers, and I did have to play around with them quite a bit before I finally found a way where I could keep everything in here. It wasn't keeping the cabinet doors open and it still looked really pretty. But now here is the before of this cluttered mess, and then here is the afters, and I think I did a great job. This is everything that I donated and then a few things that were just in the wrong place. And now I'm going to move on into my daughter's room, and I'm going to be decluttering 2 of her drawers of clothes here, just going through everything and sorting out what doesn't fit her anymore and what still does before I go ahead and use the Konmari method of folding to reorganize everything that we will be keeping. I have been on a total clothing declutter kick lately. I have completely gone through all of my closet and my dresser for my own clothes. I even got my husband to declutter his t-shirts, and now I'm starting to work on both of my daughter's clothes, and they both have a ton. That is definitely a weakness of mine, is buying kids' clothes. And as I am decluttering all of these clothing drawers, I am converting everything into the Konmari method of folding and organization, and I have been completely in love with it. It makes such a huge difference in the way that we store our clothes and the space that we have available to do it. Now, if you are unfamiliar with the Konmari method of folding, it's really just a way of folding where you're folding your clothes into thirds and sometimes fourths to make them as compact as possible, and then you're standing them upright in the drawers so that they can be organized very easily. It saves a ton of space with how you are storing your clothes, and visually you can see everything that you have, and I have been addicted. I absolutely love it. I have included these clothing declutters in a couple of my recent Clean and Declutter with Me videos, so definitely make sure that you're checking those out on my channel if you are interested. Now I am moving on to Kinsley's t-shirt bin, and it was filled completely to the top, but once I started going through everything, I realized that at least half of what was in here just didn't even fit her anymore, which is just crazy because it has only been a few months since the last time I decluttered her clothes, but I guess she has just hit a growth spurt in that time because I decluttered and donated a ton of stuff from this drawer. As I was sorting through everything, I was trying to make sure that I was keeping it in piles according to what type of shirt it was. So I have a pile for summer clothes, a pile for t-shirts, and a pile for winter or long sleeve shirts. And then I'm just going to go through and make sure that I use the Konmari method of folding on each of those separate piles, and then I'll organize them into the drawer that way as well. I wanted to show you guys some close-up clips here so that you could really see how I am folding, and I do want to be honest and say that it is a little bit more difficult to fold kids' clothes in this Konmari method because they are so small. A lot of times I felt like I was just rolling them up. When putting them back in the drawer, I tried to organize them according to what is being least used right now, so the out of season clothes in the back and the most used clothing items in the front. So that was a lot of summer and winter shirts in the back, and then most of her t-shirts are in the front since we are in that in-between spring weather. But now here are going to be some before and after shots for you guys, and that is going to finish up today's video. I hope that you enjoyed and found it to be super motivating. Don't forget to click that link in my description box and sign up for your 2 free months of Skillshare. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today, and I will see you in the next one.